think that's what it is.
Is my fire sign showing?
I think I do. I think that's it. I think you scare me when your fire sign shows. Hello.
Welcome back
to another episode of Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps. I'm Mac.
I'm Jubes.
And today's topic is book club, which is a really funny book to have chosen with the way that we planned everything out.
Yeah.
Because our book is Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King.
Hashtag good vibes only.
Which is really funny because we're only a couple weeks after Toxic Positivity.
Yeah.
But our thought with this book for this month was that it would be like a really kind of easy, light read and good for mental health month.
Yeah, because its basis is like self-love and how to like unlock your greatness through loving yourself, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And
then, but we'll, so in typical book club fashion, we'll go through each chapter and kind of thoughts on the chapter, and then we'll do our overall final thoughts on the book.
Yeah.
Which you can find all of our final thoughts or final reviews of the books on our website, sometimesciabattaslaps.com. And we'll also be supplying a link to the books on our website as well.
Yeah.
Where you can find them on.
I'm trying to figure out how to do like an Amazon storefront type thing so we can like have all of our books, and like if you guys are interested in starting your own podcast, like Mike's and whatever that thing's called that I can't remember. Interface.
No.
Yeah. And yeah, just like all these fun things that we can kind of get for you guys.
But yeah. So I guess get into it. Ooh, when this one's out, it would already been my birthday weekend. Which I guess we're a couple weeks out, hey?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going out for Michaela's birthday tonight.
Yeah.
And she has no idea what's gonna happen, and it is so exciting. I cannot wait.
It's Journey's time for a surprise, which has been, correct me if I'm wrong, a more struggle for you than it was for me surprising you.
I've almost spoiled like 3 times today. Like, I'm not even joking. Today, I've like struggled so hard, seriously, like trying to like, okay, don't say that. That gives it away. Don't say that. She's
been good though. The overthinking has done her well in this case because I have no context. The only thing that she has told me is that I need to be casual, but like a nice casual. And that we're climbing 6 flights of stairs. Specifically 6.
6 is a guesstimate. I don't fully remember, but it's a lot.
So I'm wearing a dress, and I don't know what shoes I'm going to wear it with yet.
Yeah.
If it's going to be like a dress in sneakers or a dress in heels or a dress in whatever. Yeah. I'm going to put on the outfits, and Journey's going to tell me which one she thinks is best. And then, And then there's the joke that Journey's like, oh, I'm actually just going to take you to the gym and we're just going to do the stair climber. I think that would be hilarious.
Right? That would be so funny.
Like, if you actually did that, I'd be wheezing. I think.
Wish I was that funny, because that would just be iconic.
Because I do it.
Maybe if we finish recording earlier, I'll just take you to the gym to kill time before the reservation. Get ready. We show up like fully glammed out, like walk in there like, hello.
I think that'd be hilarious.
That would be so funny.
But then you actually have something have to have actually something planned like afterwards.
Yeah.
That have time to like,
be like,
de-sweat from
there's
or
like
whatever.
an ice cream shop in the same parking lot.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Take you to high tea, your childhood dream.
There's a tea house in the same parking lot. We can go get tea.
You want tea? Say less.
I'll get it. It won't be high tea. It'll be low tea.
Low interval training, not high interval training.
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
So funny. Anyway, I'm so excited and I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It'll be so good.
You guys will get an update in next week's episode on how that went.
And I get to change my car battery over, and I'm playing with the idea of doing like an SCS, like, come change my car battery with me video. I don't know why. I think it'd be funny because I feel like I'd be less nervous about it if I was like filming myself.
I mean, you have my tripod.
That's true. I might just do that. You guys might get a how to change your car battery.
Follow us on Instagram if you want to see random content from our lives, such as changing a car battery. We just like to shit post on Instagram, like our stories.
I just post everything that I'm afraid to post on my personal on SCS.
Because it's like our journal.
Exactly.
So,
and we've created just a nice little community that doesn't judge us, and it's delightful.
mm-hmm.
Even though we are getting our very own troll posts
on our YouTube.
On YouTube, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Right now, it's funny. I hope it stays funny. I hope we're able to like keep it funny.
Well, I just don't take it personal.
Yeah,
because it's just one of those things where it's like you can't like have no idea who this person is.
So much of me just wants to troll them right back.
That's the difference between Journey and I. Is Journey's like ready to fight, and I'm just kind of like, it's not worth it.
Well, I don't want to fight, but I definitely want to have the last word. Like, I definitely want to like.
Okay, but that for me, that's like a fight.
You think that's funny? Like I'm gonna send a screenshot of this to your mom. Like,
for example, that's it.
That's funny.
Journey just puts more attention into it than I do. I'm just kind of, I see it and I'm like, wow, that's a spicy comment.
Yeah, right.
But
well, you can't argue with stupid, so
that's why I'm like, there's no point. And
that's why I don't. That was like the first time I met Bryce's mom was like Reed was being really annoying, and I was like reacting to it.
Yeah,
and she was like, Journey, just give it a rest.
He only pokes fun because you react.
Exactly. You can't argue with stupid. It's not even worth it. Like, don't even bother.
Yeah.
So I've kind of really learned that.
That's the thing. Like, anyone who like says something spiteful to you, for me, it's just like they're just trying to trigger a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, if I just say nothing,
then they don't get the reaction.
And then so it's done.
Yeah. No,
I win.
I give reactions.
But I'm going to touch on that later. I actually have a comment on this for today's book. Mm-hmm. Similar along those lines.
All right. So I guess, we're just going to get into our thoughts about this book. Do you want to go first, Mac?
Sure. So this one, he breaks it up into parts, but I guess there's basically like chapters.
Mm-hmm.
So part 1 is a matter of vibes. And just start off the bat, it's really funny that the whole premise of this book being like positive is, well, vibration too.
Okay.
But the whole like, this is supposed to be positive after doing toxic positivity is really just funny.
Yeah.
And
very ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just funny that this is our theme for this month is not inflammation, it's positivity.
Literally.
In all forms. But basically, so he starts chapter 1 with talking about the law of attraction and how his story and how he became a believer. His example that he uses that he wanted to go on vacation with friends and he didn't have any money. He needed 500 pounds exactly. And then the government said that he accidentally paid too much tax and he got exactly 500 pounds. Or sorry, 800 pounds back. And so he could go on the trip with his friends.
Yeah.
So him so desperately wanting to go on this trip, he attributes to the law of attraction for the universe then making it happen, essentially.
Yeah.
Which, I get.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, to an extent, for sure.
Because I follow along the lines of like, you get what you give in many circumstances, or if you get what you don't give, then it's a lesson of some kind for whatever reason.
Yeah, whatever you put out there, you get back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And then one thing I thought was actually really interesting, he then talks about the first self-improvement book, and which was written by Napoleon Hill in 1937, and it was called Think and Grow Rich, which then kind of directed to the law of vibration, similar to attraction, but on a vibe level.
I thought it was interesting with that book, that like over the years of like revisions and stuff of it, they actually like took out the word vibration, which is kind of crazy that they're like, oh, because it was because right now people think we're cuckoo crazy pants for like talking about like the vibration of things, but if that was something that was just like widely held and then everyone kind of like I don't want to use the word censor because that gets people unhappy, but they censored it out, right? Like they removed it and kind of steered it away from the whole like vibration. Yeah, no, exactly. And then biologically everything is vibration, right? Everything is energy, so why would be any different? Yeah, exactly. Right? And we talk about our thoughts and how it chemically affects the brain, right? Hormonally and on a cellular level, of like all these endocrine disruptors and different things like that are energies affecting your being, so why wouldn't this be the same way? Yeah. But well, yeah, even like the author, like he shortens it to vibes, and like I don't know if vibes is a more like socially acceptable, like everyone like Gen Z, right now is just like, ooh, like good vibes, like but it's like the same on the vibes kind of word token, like you walk into a room and you can tell if the vibes are off or not. Yeah, exactly. And that essentially is just your intuition or your vibration or whatever else you want to. Oh yeah, the vibrations are lower or whatever. Like Yeah, I guess it is like I never just thought about the word vibe being like short for vibration. And then like actually applying. It's one of those things where I was like, oh yeah. Huh. I just kind of thought of it as like its own word.
You just never thought of it. Yeah.
It's something I've never like expanded on.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And then, so with this, when you talk about the law of attraction, adding in the law of vibration to that, it's essentially to bring an idea into reality or your perception, you must match its vibrational frequency. Mm-hmm. And so that's you have to align yourself with what you want in life. And so that's where the whole concept of visualization and manifesting and all the things that we've talked about before come into play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, very much so.
And then he touches on an experiment by Dr. Hans Jenny, where high vibrations created like beautiful shapes and stuff, and low vibrations were less appealing. Same thing with the ice experiment that we talked about with
Masaru Emoto.
Yeah. Emoto.
He quotes him in here too.
Yeah. And so that's all kind of different things. He just introduces the idea of attraction, vibrations, the laws and the premises behind all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was really good. I liked how he talked about like when he was leaving for his sister's wedding and how it just kind of like showed him the importance of like taking a step back and kind of like zooming out and changing your environment to reset. Because I find a lot of times, like if I'm just feeling like bogged down or whatever, like just changing my environment and getting out of the space that's like dragging me down, that helps a lot. So I kind of thought I really
related
to that when he said that.
Well, especially for this thing, like he was talking about, was it school or work?
School, yeah. School? At this point, yeah.
School is a place, like forever, like if you go to your campus, it will forever be a place that holds like stress, right? Because people associate places and things with different emotions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you go back to a place where you have a lot of associated like negative emotions. You're always going to feel those negative emotions when you're at that place.
Yeah.
Even in a reflection point, you're going to be like, oh, wow, this was a bad time in my life, whatever.
Exactly.
So to remove yourself from it, to kind of like get out of that, your, I don't know, bubble, I guess. And look in on the bubble and be like, okay, that's just there though.
Exactly.
Like, that's not my life. That's just in this setting.
Like he almost just needed to get out of his own head. Cause like that happens to me too, where I'm like so in my head about things. But then as soon as I like go somewhere or do something else that doesn't go with this, it allows me to kind of like, reset and reflect and like get out of my head and be like, okay, whatever, we're fine. And then continue on with my life.
Exactly.
But yeah. And yeah, one quote that I really liked by him in part 1 was like, by taking positive actions and changing your mindset, you'll manifest greater things. By loving yourself, you'll live a life you love.
Yeah, I have that last bit written down.
Yeah.
By loving yourself, you'll live a life you love.
Yeah.
Which is, I think there's so much truth to that
yeah.
When you're wrapped up in doom and gloom of things, you often forget that.
Well, yeah, and even later on in the book, he talks about like loving yourself so deeply that like your looks will change, your weight will change, everything about you changes, but you should be at the point where you love your whole body. Like you love yourself so much that it doesn't really matter. And so it's kind of nice to like, he's like, yeah, like you might want to do that, but it's not because you hate yourself and you think that by doing that, you'll then gain the love for yourself. Like you already love yourself enough to like do these things kind of. I was like, that's really, really nice.
Good way to look at it. Yeah. So part 2 is then talks about positive lifestyle habits, where he touches primarily on meditation and how that can relate to your vibration and all that stuff. So he talks about like meditation as like an introspective act of studying how low vibration emotions. Wow. Yeah. English. Studying low vibration emotions can assist in transforming high vibe emotions. It's basically, looking inward to figure out what's bugging you to then raise your vibration, essentially.
Yeah.
And so he talks about like energy is contagious. And so who you surround yourself with should match your energy or raise your energy, which is when you can tell if you like walk into a room and your gut's being like, get out.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it's kind of like talking about.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is not where you're meant to be. This is not your people. This is not your crowd. This is whatever else. It's your intuition being like, no, this is wrong.
Yeah, it was really reaffirming to hear him talk about things like that and putting it in the way of like, oh, like when your gut tells you like this, it's like you're not just making it up. Like, there's actually something to it. Like, someone else's vibrations are, like, that's what's telling you that something's wrong, whether or not you believe in vibrations or whatever. But
I think everyone has that experience where you walk into a scenario and you're like, something bad is going to happen. It's just your animalistic instinct, right?
Exactly.
Deer see it when you, like, walk past a person. Deer run because they're like, threat.
Exactly.
Right?
They're like, you know, it's your self-preservation instinct where it's like, you know what's going on.
Exactly.
I also really liked in this chapter where he talked about spending more time with people who add value to your life. And that's something you hear a lot about in the self-help community, is like surrounding yourself with people who have the same goals and carry the same energy, and just because it helps you stay on track with your own goals and your own energy. Yeah.
Well, because like we talked about this before. I can't remember which episode, but essentially, like, if you, I don't know, for example, want to get into fitness and none of your friends are into working out and they actually just roast people who go to the gym all the time. Yeah. Then you're less likely to go to the gym and work out. Exactly. As fear of being outlawed by your peer group. Right.
And that's something that I really liked about, like, when we first started our friendship. It was like, I was like, yeah, like, I want to start working out, but I'm still self-conscious about actually working out. And then here you were, like, going to these F45 classes and, like, really thriving in the workout community. I was like, okay, it's doable. Yeah. Right?
Well, because I had just started at F45 when we met. Like, that was brand new to me. Yeah. I'd worked out prior, but I worked out in a different city and then moved back to the city. That's when I started going to F45. Yeah. And so it was like new friendship for me, and that was a very new part of my life, but that's how that's our baseline. That's how we started, was this whole just like talk about our shit.
Well, even the whole like, I'm never gonna work out with anybody. Like, I'm so self-conscious. Like, what if they think I'm weak? But then you're like, do you want to work out with me on Valentine's Day? And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to.
I just like, you never expressed that to me, so me asking you was just like a genuine
and I did tell you that, and then you asked me anyways.
Subconscious about working out with people?
Yeah, because I told you, I was like, oh, like, I'm never really going to work out with anybody. Like, I'm totally fine just, like, working out on my own. And then you were just like...
Oh, that's getting one ear out the other.
Because you bugged me about that for so long.
Oh. I don't remember that.
Yeah. That's so funny.
That's... perception and direction.
Yeah, you bugged me about it so much. Like, yeah, like... I thought you said you'd never work out with anybody. Because I remember we were, like, in the front of the F45 gym, and you were like, yeah, like, I thought you said you'd never do this. And I was like, yeah, it was actually a lot of fun.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, or you're welcome. However you want to look at that.
I think you're welcome. It's definitely you're welcome.
But, yeah, no, so that's oftentimes, like, and that's where it gets difficult with, say, like, older friendships, right? Like, friendships, like, childhood friendships. I'm still close to a lot of childhood friends, but we couldn't hang out every single day because we don't have the commonalities, right? Yeah. Our only commonality now is that we've known each other for X number of years. Yeah. But to dive in, and that's fine. I think that's where the whole part of just like adulthood and growth as a whole come into play. Yeah. And that's just taking it for an experience for like what it is. Yeah, exactly. Who matches your vibe in that moment.
Your vibrations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I liked, that I kind of wish that he'd expanded on a little bit was like power poses. Yeah. And the science behind those. I thought that was really interesting.
Okay.
Because I've heard a lot about like, I want to do more research into it. Because I was kind of hoping that he would give us like some specifics about it.
So power poses was a concept like created by Amy Cuddy. And so the whole premise of it, like I learned in psychology, is that you stand in the mirror or you stand something in a power pose.
The Superman pose.
Yeah, Superman pose is one, hands on the hips. It's basically to kind of take up space and make yourself bigger. So it increases confidence. Yeah. There has been some criticism around it since its first release that it actually doesn't do anything.
But if it is placebo, like...
Exactly.
Like, there's no harm in doing it.
Yeah. But it's basically a physical way of doing, like, an affirmation is what it was. Yeah. Or the idea behind it. Yeah. And this kind of links into with, in 2003, there's a study that showed that faking a smile releases endorphins, which it's in the book. I don't have the study pulled up right now. Yeah. But this is similar to how getting Botox so that you can't frown. Yeah. Makes you feel positive as well. Yeah. Like we talked about in Inflamed Mind, was it?
I think
Botox?
it was before Inflamed Mind, because we mentioned it in Inflamed Mind, referring back to another episode.
These are just meshing together now in my head.
I know. But like with that, I find it so interesting, like even with the Botox, like making you feel happier so you can't frown. I would like to know, because when we talk about toxic positivity, is only being positive and not being able to express negative emotions or whatever. So I'm interested to see like how that actually affects them, because if you can't frown, then you can't show the expression of like being sad, and there's really no way for you to like emote.
My mom and I, we always, so there's a movie called Cinderella Story. It has Hilary Duff in it. It's like one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid.
Yeah, it's very good. Right? Yeah.
Chad Michael Murray, Hilary Duff, how could you go wrong?
Right.
But there's a scene in it where like the wicked stepmom.
I love her so much.
What's her name? Do you remember her name?
Oh,
she's in the White Lotus right now.
I can literally. Oh,
she's in White Lotus. I can't remember her name right now. But either way, the stepmom goes to pick up the stepsisters, but she had just got Botox done.
Yeah.
And then she does this whole thing. She's like, "You can't tell, but I am so mad at you right now." And she had to do it with a straight face. My mom and I wheeze laughing.
So funny.
Like mimicking that. We still do the whole thing. We try to do like the Botox face where she's like, "I am so mad at you right now."
So good.
If you can see my if you have to look at the YouTube video for that one.
I'll zoom in for that.
He's just trying to like the was it puffy face filter on Instagram, essentially that, but
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's off topic of what we were talking about altogether, but one of my favorite experiences of like the whole Botox thing, it's just my mom and I going back and forth reciting that line and seeing who can say it with a straighter face.
That's so funny. All I can hear is like, you're like, I want a hot dog real bad. That's a terrible impression of her. So funny. What a great movie.
Such a good movie.
So good.
Petition to watch that movie this weekend.
I'm like, yeah. But passed. Motion passed. Oh my goodness.
Alrighty.
Back. So another thing that I really liked that he addressed was that it's important to spend time alone to recharge. I think a lot of people forget that.
Even as extroverts.
Yeah, it's just important, like, and I think that's something that like families forget, where it's like, because I know I sometimes need time to just like recharge and be by myself. Yeah. But a lot of time everyone's like, well, don't you like, why don't you like us? Like, why aren't you hanging out with us? Like, what are you doing? Like, why do you need to recharge? Yeah. But some people literally just like, alone time is important. Yeah. Like, that's how you recharge. And like, I appreciate growing up in the last couple of years or whatever, and like being able to have conversations with friends that are like this. Cause like I've had conversations with you about this where it's like, okay, we could never live together because we would just be on all the time. Like there would never be this alone time to recharge. And then I was even talking with another friend because she was talking about coming up here, and she's like, yeah, like it would only be for a little bit because last time I just like stayed too long, and I'm learning that I'm the kind of person who needs alone time to recharge and kind of reset, and I need my own space. And I'm like, I'm happy that I'm in a place where I can hear that and not take it personally and be like, yeah, that's fair. I get it. Me too. Like, I understand.
I'm very glad you're in that place too, because otherwise you would have iced me out so fast.
I really,
because the way I just said like, no.
Yeah, you were just like, whatever. And I was like, sweet. Like, because it still feels weird for me to be like, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Without being like, but realistically, you, but we couldn't do it. No. It wouldn't go well. But we need time apart. Yeah. That's how we work. Yeah. Yeah.
So we just jumped into me moving in, especially like it'd be me moving into your house. So it'd be me feeling like I can't actually make a space my own.
Exactly.
And then just our friendship has just been on all the time. Like all we do is talk and hang out, which would then cause drama within your relationship.
Yeah. Like it was just
because you have no
wouldn't work.
Like our friendship needs that separation.
Exactly. And it's nice to be in a place where I can be like, where I can hear that and think that and not be like, oh my gosh, he hates me.
Yeah. Like there's no lack of love.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just...
But we could do a trip together. Because I have some friends who I couldn't do a trip with.
Traveling with your friends is make or break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Take it from someone who had the experience firsthand with, like, a roommate turned friend turned travel partner back to roommate. Now we don't talk.
Well, yeah. And it's like, even with this other friend, like, I don't know that we could travel together because we both like to be in control, but we control it very differently.
Okay.
So the way I control things would be different than her. How
do you think we would go then? Because I think
that I don't know, you travel enough that I don't have to worry about you having all your stuff together. So I don't need to worry about, like, do you have your passport?
Oh, so that would be the control that you would do then.
Like, yeah, I would be like, give me your passport, give me your ticket, we're getting on the plane, blah, blah, whatever. I would trust you. I'd be like, what are we doing for itinerary? Like, where, like, I would give you the control in this scenario, but, like, normally it would be like, I feel like I need to do the control.
Interesting.
Weird how that goes, though, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was, like, wondering, like, because we're both very particular people.
Yeah.
I think it depends on location. I think the most argument we would ever get in is, like, activities.
And I don't necessarily think it would even be, like, an argument.
Yeah. But that's the only thing I can see as, like, not working out or not agreeing on. And is, like, something when you're playing activities with someone.
But I feel like now I'm in the kind of space where it's like, okay, you want to go skydiving or bungee jumping or whatever, and I want to go look at the library. You can go skydiving or bungee jumping. I'm going to go look at the library. Like, I don't need to do that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So,
I think, I think it would work out, as I said, but
so
just curious.
Just a little insight to our friendship.
Yeah. I'm really trying to think. Where did that come from?
That came from, it's important to spend alone time to recharge.
Yes. And so, and to avoid...
Obviously.
Duh. So another one of the things he talks about is, like, to avoid gossip and drama, right? And in Ayurveda, gossip blocks your chakras.
Yeah.
Which, again, I can see you're, like, because you're concerning yourself with, like, others for what?
Exactly.
Right?
You're bringing down your own vibration for why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it does no benefit. And on that same token, walking away from fights saves your vibration. So, like, there's, when Journey's, like, talking about the whole replying to the trolls. Yeah. We're both like, we both know there's no point. Yeah. But it's just like that's my main thing is I'm like, there's no, there's no energy. Like, every time in my personal experience, every time I've gotten so mad about something or so invested in something, I get uncontrollably angry. Like, I lose my power. And that's my words for it. Yeah. Right. And that's a lot of the advice I give to friends too, is I'm like, don't lose your power. Right. Because the minute you're showing that reaction and, like, the person who's egging it out of you, they then quote unquote win.
They win. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so for me, I just find it easier to just keep things separate and not lose my power. And how you don't have to, like, you can just walk away, and that says just as much as defending yourself or
exactly. And
how
see, like,
people look at it.
I agree with, like, don't take every fight that's given to you. And I go on a little bit of a rant later on, but it's like, I'm at the point where I'm trying to, like, break my people pleasing thing. And so I'm having to, like, start the fights. Like, at what point is the fighting, like, when does standing up for yourself just become unnecessary fighting? Right? So I'm kind of, like, I don't know where that boundary is right now. So I'm really struggling. And that's one of the reasons probably why I didn't like that one. But it's like, I don't know where that boundary is. Like, I don't know where the line is. Yeah. So, and I don't like having to figure that out. I just like to know. Yeah.
Jory doesn't like trying. She just likes knowing.
I just like to know where the line is. But yeah.
No, I can see that. Like, I get it. I don't know. I've had it so many times where I got into fights and I would get emotional. And I would do things like throw a hairbrush at my wall.
Yeah.
Well, hairbrush goes right through the wall. Yeah. Now I get mad because now I have to repair the wall because no one's going to repair that wall for me. Yeah. And I don't want to look at a hole in my wall.
Well, yeah, right? And that's fair.
And so I lost my power. It was like a lose-lose-lose situation for me. And so from that point, it's just like, there's no point. There's not a lot of hills I'll die on now at this point. Same thing with people. There's a lot of people, like, I give a certain amount of fight and then I'm like, done.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
there's
that's
no point.
Good luck.
Well, and, like, a lot of the time, like, I don't care enough.
Yeah.
To like actually fight, but it's like almost like a point of principle where it's like, okay, like if you let this slide, then it's going to continue to slide, and like they're just gonna walk all over you, right? So
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I agree. It's a fine line, but I really liked how.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with the whole like stay out of drama and gossip, and that's something that's like you don't gossip, and like not only is gossiping not nice, but like it just makes sense, right? Like you just don't do it. But I'm so bad for gossiping. I do it all
me too.
all the time.
I was gonna say I'm very bad, but listen, it can't be blocking my throat chakra because it's nice and open, according to every spiritual guru I've been.
Don't say your throat chakra is open on the internet, Michaela.
Well, you want to call on Carmen?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I have no problem like expressing myself. But yeah, that's essentially what that means. But
yeah.
Anyways,
I'm moving on.
Then another point here that I have in this chapter is like that is your self identity is quote unquote picked by your ego, which we're gonna get into ego in a few episodes. I don't know when. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Which I agree. Right, your ego is your protective factor. It's your defense. It's what makes you likable or not likable, or it basically finds your tribe, so to speak. Yeah,
I added what he wrote about ego into our notes for our ego episode. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's like, if you think of the ego as like an iceberg, there's a part of you that you see, and then there's like your unconscious, and then there's like the part that you can't control, and it just that whole thing, and that all then wraps up to who you want to be and how you want to present to the world. Is that it fuels your ego, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What consumes you, what you consume consumes you, and what consumes you controls your life.
Yeah, so exactly. Apples, baby.
Yeah, that was one of my notes. I have no idea what I was gonna say there. I wrote apples, BABYYYYYY.
That's so funny. Baby. Were you eating an apple at that point?
No, I was on a plane.
Yeah. That's so weird. Okay. One section that Michaela and I's opinion really differed on was his like express gratitude section. He starts off with like these quotes that gave me a very much like, you can't complain because others have it worse, so like just take what's given to you and just don't complain about anything ever. And Michaela took it as like a like, before you complain, like think about these things, like be grateful for what you have, which is how he was intending it, I'm sure. But yeah, it was very much not how I got it. But then like at the end of that section or whatever, like he did redeem himself in that one where it's like, yes, it is so important to be grateful and thankful for like everything you have, but you also can't just like, I don't know, maybe it's just like my feelings have been diminished so much that it's like every time I complain, it's like, well, so-and-so has it worse. It's like, okay, but well, what about me?
Yeah. So that's a sore spot for you.
Yeah.
Whereas that's
very
not,
much so.
That doesn't affect me the same way.
Yeah. So yeah.
I found it with the apples.
Oh, okay.
Because apples have high vibration. That's the vibration of apples.
Okay, I wondered, but then I was like, maybe she just eats a lot of apples and is going to turn into one. Like, I don't know.
Because the comment underneath that he talked about a study by 1949 electromagnetism. Wow.
Whoa.
Hey, Michaela, slow down.
Take two.
1949 electromagnetism. Magnetism. Expert.
Magnetism.
Andre. Electromagnetism. Magnetism. Andre Simonton. And so he discovered that foods are electromagnetically powered. And so humans maintain a vibration of 65 angstroms, which is deemed to be healthy. And then he talks about like the low and stuff. But that's because apples are a high vibration food. And that's where that was going for.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so where that goes, like, the way Journey saw that was she saw it more as of an attack, I guess, from personal experience.
Yeah.
Whereas I saw it as like I don't want to hear this right now, especially when I'm in a complaining mood. But that's exactly something that I do need to hear when I am in a complaining mood. Because realistically, the things I have to complain about are so minimal. And that's me saying that. That's not someone else telling me that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's always been someone else telling me that.
Yeah.
And so there's like, yeah, like, I'm like, okay, like if I'm feeling overwhelmed by like XYZ, I don't like someone saying, oh, well, like you're lucky you even have XYZ. I'm like, I know that I am. Yeah. But it's still overwhelming. Like because other people don't have this doesn't make it any less overwhelming for me, right? Yeah. And I don't know, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, there's one quote in here. I want to know how you see it. Okay. I wrote it down because I liked it. Greatness starts with being grateful.
Yeah, that was I kind of rolled my eyes at it, but like I did at the end of the chapter. I was like, yes, I agree. Yeah. Like it is so like if you're not grateful, you become a spoiled little brat. Like that's just how it is.
I agree. That's again same thing. Kind of roll your eyes at, but when you sit on it, who do you look up to? Who do you aspire to be? Who do you consider quote unquote great?
Yeah, exactly.
And how do they react? Are they bratty? Like I don't tend to idolize bratty individuals.
Well, bratty individuals don't tend to do anything.
Exactly.
Like that's not so I definitely do like recognize that you need to be grateful and thankful for things, but that doesn't mean that you can't also complain sometimes.
Yeah. And so there's 4 steps here to transform your negative emotions that you might experience. So it's identify, challenge, understand, and then replace. And then the final thing is visualize. Unless you have aphantasia and you can't visualize.
I know, I was like, I can't do that.
But I was in that reading that then made me wonder are those who can't visualize, are we more prone to depressive thoughts? Is that a study that has been happening?
That I like. Because I think I had a very similar thought. I was like, what can I do if I can't visualize this? Yeah. Like, what am I supposed to do then? Everyone just says visualize X, Y, Z, but it's like, I physically cannot. It's not for a lack of trying.
Yeah. So do you have to make your space? Is that why I've been so obsessed my entire life with making my physical space like very aesthetically pleasing and very beautiful and very satisfying? It's because there's nothing like that just going on in my brain at all times.
Maybe. I don't know.
This is an interesting possible study if it hasn't already been done.
Yeah, right?
Anyone who
you guys can do it, but like
cite
give us something from that. Yeah.
Mak Joy, it's Jubes at Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps.
Literally.
No, I wondered, like, because are those with aphantasia more prone to depressive thoughts because they can't visualize the positives of things the same way?
Yeah, or is it like, does it make changing your life or whatever so much more difficult because you can't, and then you feel like a failure because you're like, everyone's telling me to visualize, but I can't. Yeah,
and the only thing you can see is what's physically in front of you.
Yeah, that's so weird. I'm like so very aware of the fact that I just have like my eyes are the only thing that I can like see, and I'm like, it's weird right now in my brain. I feel like Flat Stanley. It just feels like eyes, like nothing's there. That's so weird. Okay. Yeah. Weird.
So
I like that.
That's something that I thought and considered something to consider. I mean, or vice versa. Or are you more likely to be more optimistic, or is it all situation based? Like, or how does aphantasia affect your perception of well-being?
Exactly. That would be a very interesting study. Someone do that.
So,
yeah. Another point that I have here is he really talked about like awareness of the present and like just being like fully there in the moment, living for the moment, like all of that fun stuff. That really struck a chord with me because he's talking about like how bad phones are because they don't allow you to live in the present, but like I can read a book and be just as like detached from real life as I would on my phone. Like the day we went to the Bachelorette, like I chose to read my book for how many hours and just ignore the world and then speed clean, and then I brought my book to the Bachelorette party because I didn't want to like separate myself from that reality or whatever. So it's like there are other harmful things. Yeah. Even though if you tell someone like that, they're like, oh my gosh, like it's so amazing that you're like reading a book, like you're not on your phone, blah blah whatever. And it's like I still got nothing done, and I still ignored the entire world.
Okay, but you think you consider your books a distraction though?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I have to make myself not read my book. Like, I have a book on my nightstand that I'm, like, postponing reading because I've got things I need to do before this weekend.
Huh.
Because I have a hard time stopping the book in the middle of it.
Well, you can bring it to the cabin and read your life away on the hammock.
I will.
But I think you'd be more present in that kind of, in a nature-based scenario.
But in that moment, yeah, like
you'll be like fresh air, hammock, book. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
But I think it wouldn't be, yeah.
But then what's the difference between fresh air, nature, phone?
I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I think it's anything, yeah, because again, I'm someone who I don't like when I get wrapped up in something like TikTok. Mm-hmm. But for me, something like Pinterest is inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Right. So it's app dependent. Or if I catch myself, if I'm ever comparing, then that's a no bueno. If I'm just checking in on friends, or if I'm like, again, inspired, I tend to follow a lot of people who inspire me. So I find social media as a tool rather than a distraction.
Yeah.
But there are times where you use it as a distraction. Like, oh, I know I should be clean right now, but I just scrolled on TikTok for 2 hours and got wrapped up.
Netflix and like whatever else, right?
And I think that's more so what he's referring to is when you're using it to distract from things that you need to do or things that you know that will make you happy if you do.
Yeah. But also reading this book makes me happy.
Okay.
So yeah, that fair. Was just... I was like, I can be just as unaware of the present with a book than I can with my phone. Yeah. So like, if you're going to villainize phones, you should also be villainizing everything else that takes distraction.
I think this kind of goes back to Porcupine, where like you can use a phone for a board game, or you can do a physical board game, and it's going to be the same outcome.
Exactly.
Right. If you use a phone for comparison game, then of course it's not good for you. Right. You're going to be out of your present moment and who you are and how you're breathing and things like that.
Well, even like how unaware of the present was I when I was reading this? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was just like, okay, whatever.
See, I was very aware of the present. And I'll get into this at the end because my situation when I read the book was a situation that made me very happy. Mm-hmm. But one thing, so, and in that comment that he talks about, he tries to like get you to think about a time that you got so wrapped up in the present moment that you forgot to check the time. What were you doing? Yeah. And was that reading your book? Yeah. So that's you wrapped up in that present moment. Yeah. So I don't think it's a bad thing then, because for my example is whenever I'm doing like when I'm painting or if I'm doing like a renovation of some sort or cleaning my room, I'm so wrapped up in that moment that I'm not looking at the time. Yeah. I forget to eat. I forget to drink sometimes. I'm just listening to music and I'm painting. Yeah. I think immersing yourselves in things that you love is so important. Like there should be more moments where you forget to check the time. Mm-hmm. Because like how amazing is that if you're so like obsessed with this painting or whatever that you're doing that you just do it and then you forget to check the time. Like I think that's great. I feel like we don't have enough of that. I feel like not painting. I'm painting a wall. I'm not doing a drawing painting.
Whatever, that works.
Yeah. I was like, you know what I mean? No, don't get it twisted. I'm not. No, I am doing large scale drywall painting, not creating art.
Okay, that makes way more sense because the back of my brain was like, what does Michaela paint? I've never heard that. But I was like, amazing. She paints.
No, for me, it's like the last time I can remember that is when I renovated my parents' bedroom. And for that, like those tasks and stuff, that's like trim, check, roll, check, coat 2, check, stain, check. Like that was like, that brings me joy. Yeah. And I don't care about my phone at that point.
Well, exactly.
Like, I don't care who's texting me. I don't care what's going on in the news. I don't care what's going on in the world. It's just me, a paintbrush, and staring at a corner of like a ceiling and a wall. Right. Or baseboard and a wall, or like cleaning the dust off of the baseboards. Like those are all things that I thoroughly enjoy.
Well, and even with that, like, I think even becoming like too aware of the present can be an issue where you're like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening at this moment, at every time, everywhere. Yeah. That can be exhausting too.
Because your body's actively trying to filter out things that aren't relevant.
Yeah. But like, I do understand that the way he was saying it is like, don't get too caught up in like what your future is going to be like, and don't get too caught up in like what happened to you in the past. Like try and live more in the moment and be like grateful for where you are in life right now.
Exactly.
And for me, it's reading a book.
Yeah. And so one of these quotes here to wrap up this chapter is, meditation eases the resistance your ego creates. Mm-hmm. And then he offers a meditation guide on page 70.
Mm-hmm. I really liked that because it just kind of, he phrased meditation as like just breathing with awareness. So it kind of like, because meditation, again, everyone's like visualize, like when you're in your brain, like just turn it off, make it all blank. And I'm like, it's always blank. Yeah. But then my thoughts are racing.
It's always blank.
So yeah, it just kind of made it less daunting. I'm like, maybe I can meditate now if I just like focus on breathing.
We should go to one of the yoga meditation classes.
Yeah.
On Monday, he does a a meditation class and see if you like it.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting. Do they play those like sound bath things?
Not in that one.
Okay, good.
Okay, you don't want to do that?
No. Yeah. I tried that once and it made me feel real dizzy. I didn't like it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So part 3 is make yourself a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one is, he's just kind of talking about like prioritize yourself, but then he also mentions like don't prioritize yourself so much that you're not acknowledging and respecting other people's feelings. Like don't become almost selfish with it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't let them harm your peace either.
Yeah.
So
there's a quote here that he says that struck a chord with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes you have to continuously cut out people who cut you, which has been the case in my experience. I tend to give people too many second chances.
I thought of you when I read that one too.
They have 16 chances.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I want to be a forgiving person, but I let it get to a point where it then dulls me down, and I take it like to heart, and so that's something I need to work on.
Yep.
But then even on the same token, another quote, it's like, but when you think someone is overreacting, you then need to ask why.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, what about their experience or reaction, which is a kind of a place that I tend to go from. I'm like, why is this person yelling at me? What's hurting them that they're choosing to take it out on me?
Yeah.
Right? Because as a kid, it drove me insane. As an adult, I'm more so now like, oh, people who are going to like freak out at me for no reason.
Yeah.
They see me as a threat. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, quote unquote, confident. Like I have my bad days too. I'm human.
Yeah.
Right. But I walk into a room and I'm just like, hi, I'm here.
Yeah.
Which is people love and hate at the same time. But
yeah,
I've had many people in my life who come at me very attacky. And I'm like, why are they choosing that on me? What am I don't know, attracting or putting out that says, oh, her?
Well, and I don't even think so much of it is you, but them, right? Like, I think there's a danger with that is because you're then like internalizing like, oh, it's something wrong with me, but it's not. It's something wrong with them, right? Like
that's what I said. I can see they're hurt. I'm not. I know that they're hurt.
Yeah.
But why do they feel like they can put that out on me over someone else?
Oh, okay.
Would they then jump onto someone else who they think is quote unquote lower than them?
Yeah.
Is it a stature thing, or is it just like oh, Michaela's too nice, so she'll forgive me 500 times? Like that's where the whole balance of cutting out people who cut you. Yeah. Versus like showing empathy because, I don't know, their dog might have died 2 hours ago. Yeah. Like with customers, right? Yeah. With customers, I tend to go empathy first. Yeah, especially working in customer service. And I'm like, oh, you're spicy because you must have something going on. Yeah, exactly. But it's someone who's like a friendship, if it's like repetitive, that's when I'm like, I don't know why you continuously feel the need to put me down. Like it's, you're done. Yeah. Snip, snip. Yeah, no, that's fair. But it takes me a long time to get to that point, which is, I guess, a blessing and a curse. So fun. And then the last quote here is like, you can't change those who aren't ready to change, which is the number one thing when you learn in psychology. Yeah. Same thing with nutrition, right? Like I can preach nutrition advice till the fucking cow jumps over the moon. And if someone doesn't want to hear it, they're not going to hear it. Yeah, exactly. Someone thinks they're doing their life fine. They're doing their life fine. And that's just how it's going to be. Right? Yeah. I can't force that change. It has to come from an intrinsic motivation. Yeah. Very much so. Right. Yeah, there's just like little things where it's like, unfortunately, many modern friendships aren't based on emotional support or a family-like connection. Saying we're like a family is the biggest red flag. In a workplace? Or do you think in general? In general. Oh, see, I disagree with that. I've had too many situations where it's been like, oh my gosh, like we're so close, like we're like a family. And it is one of the most toxic groups I've ever been in. Interesting. Yeah. I think in a workplace, because I think a work you shouldn't bring like your family stature into like a workplace. 100%, yeah. Right? Even though we're the ones who made the jokes of like mom and dad, right? Yeah. Because we were running it like mom and dad in a literally. Very dysfunctional family. Yeah. But I don't think that's how your workplace should be necessarily. It gets rid of like the professionalism because it lets emotions run rampant that don't need to be rampant in there. Yeah. 100%. But where I disagree on that statement though is one of my best friends who we just like her went to the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
She is like a sister to me.
See, we're like family and we're like a family are two very different things. Where, yeah, I agree. I've definitely have a lot of friends who are like, they're like my siblings, right? Yeah. But if it's a group setting where we're like, oh my gosh, we're like family.
Oh no, but I say that all the time. Like, yeah, like she has been more of a sister to me than my own sister has. And so that's where I think you can choose family just as much as it is biological. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. So that's basically when I read that, that's what I think of. I think it becomes toxic in certain scenarios. Or if we, again, with timing, like if we had just met, like 2 months into working together, and I'd be like, oh my God, she's my sister. Yeah. It's a different thing. I can't replace Sheraton. Yeah, exactly. Right? I'm not trying to replace Sheraton. Yeah. But my best friend of 14 years who has been a better sister to me than my own sister has. Yeah. Yeah, she's like a sister to me, and I see no issue with saying that. Yeah. And her family is like my second family, and it's all just a different, I mean, I see that dynamic as okay. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm just saying, like, with my experience, it hasn't been that. Yeah. But yeah. And then I liked his saying, like, just because they're your family doesn't mean that they have the best intentions for you, and that it's okay to, like, cut people off when you feel like they're not, like, just because they are your family doesn't mean that you need to keep them in your life. And I think that's something that millennials have kind of started doing, and a lot of people are really mad about, but I support that movement where it's like, if someone is like holding you back and really harshing your vibe, if they're just like giving out bad vibes, if they're just like bad vibes only, then yeah, cut them off. It doesn't matter that they're family. I agree. A person's a person. That's all. Like, even the whole premise behind like respect your elders. Yeah, I'm like, I think respect is earned as a whole. 100%. I don't care that you're older than me. Yeah, if you're emotionally inadequate, I'm not going to respect you. Like, respectfully. Yeah, 100%. Right, like. You can't tell me what to do if I don't value your opinion or your lifestyle. If the way you're treating me isn't like, if I wouldn't let my friends treat me the way that you're treating me, what on earth makes you think I'm gonna let you treat me like that only because we're related? Yeah. There's no chance. Yeah. But yeah. And then along with that, like, he also kind of talked about how, like, you need to minimize their fears so that they have more faith, which I disagree with. To an extent. It depends on how much you value them being present in your life. Yeah. And like with the example that he gave of like someone like trying to start a business and like your family's like, oh, like I don't fully understand like what your business is, so like I don't fully support it. And then you're trying to be like, no, like it's okay. I feel like that's kind of how we're doing with like podcasting and stuff, where it's just so new. They're like, oh, like we'll support you, I guess, but like we don't really know what's going on. I feel like that's fine. Yeah, if it comes out of a place of like concern rather than like judgment. Yes, exactly. But if they're like, oh, like, I don't like that you're living with your boyfriend, blah, 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 whatever. I want to, like, if it just becomes an issue, like, it's not my job to make you feel better about my life. Yeah. It's my life. Exactly. So that's how I felt about that. I agree. And then he kind of touches on, like, things that are dragging you down, right? So he uses the term misery loves company, which is kind of what happened. We touched on a bit earlier here. Yeah. So people oppose progress, hurt people. Yeah. The lonely and bored crave attention. Like, that's all the things that you can see with the whole rah, look at me parade that happens with social media. And I think that's why he uses phone and technology as a primary example, because it's one big highlight reel that everyone's like, my life's great. Well, and you can remain anonymous, so you can shit post as much as you want. Exactly. So, yeah. And that just then touches on like karma and like Newton's law and like, karma is Newton's law essentially in his words, right? Yeah. Because Newton's law is like equal, and for every reaction there's an equal or opposite reaction. Yeah, there it is. That's essentially what karma is. Yeah, it really is. You put out good karma, you'll get good karma. Yeah. You put out good vibes, you'll get good vibes. Exactly. Like that whole idea. And then the last thing on this one that he like said underneath the section was dare to leave your toxic job, which made me think of you. Yeah, I did that! Exclamation point. Yeah. Because it was so specifically toxic for you. It was not good for me. Yeah. Yeah. Like, my experience there has been, I get a lot of your stuff, but it hasn't been the same. It didn't wear on you as much as it did me. Yeah, it hasn't affected me to the point where I was like, my soul is cracking. I'm able to remove myself enough, but it consumed you so deeply, which
really did. Well, because it affected every part of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't live a life outside of that job specifically because of the way that it was run.
Mm-hmm. And your personality type too.
Yeah.
Because it's ran the way it's been run, like,
forever.
Before you, and it's going to run the way it's been run after you.
Yeah, Graylin says that to me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's how you take that on, right? Which is maybe a self-work thing.
Well, yeah.
That you need to figure out for later on in life if so it sees fit. But whereas someone like me, same job, same tasks.
Yeah.
I'm able to like walk away and shut off.
Yeah.
And be like, not my issue.
Yeah.
It's my issue when I'm there. It's not my issue when I'm not there.
Well, exactly. And you were even better about like booking time off, but it's like...
Yeah, I was not shy about
I didn't, right?
Yeah.
I'm very, very blessed that I was in a situation where I was able to, because he also talked about like how in certain situations, like you might not necessarily be able to quit your job. Weird. Okay.
I lost my pillow.
Oh no. Yeah. And so yeah, like I definitely like I don't know if it was like a guilt after reading this book of being like, you need to be grateful for every fucking thing in your life. That I had to like I felt the need to write that I'm blessed that I was able to, but I really truly am, and I'm so thankful that I was able to, that like I'm in a situation where like I can quit my toxic job and not worry about the fact that I don't have much saved up and like nothing else lined up after.
Yeah, I'd say it's hard not to be grateful because that is such a rare
a rare thing. Yeah.
But again, easier said than done. I don't know. You feel how you feel. And
well, and I feel so thankful. And so, because it was like a light at the end of the tunnel where like once I finally cracked, I was able to go to Bryce and be like, I'm done. Like, you keep telling me I can quit my job. Like, can I actually quit my job? And he's like, yes, do it. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
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 So part 4 is about accepting yourself, because like at the beginning of the book, it's like if you love yourself, you'll whatever attract people. Whatever he said. I can't remember.
I think I have
loving yourself down. Is like the purest form of vibes.
Love is a balance between accepting yourself as you are while knowing you deserve better and working on it.
No, maybe I'm delusional.
That's not it.
But either way, you start by like looking after your body as a healthy habit, which I agree.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So take care of your car, it runs well. It's same kind of thing as your body. You eat well, you look good, you feel good. Yeah. Gut brain, you know me.
You've heard our spiels.
You know I'm into that. Yeah. And then there's another quote that he said in this book that says that you're a reflection of the wonder of nature, which made me think of like, I've heard this quote before where it's your face is a reflection of desired genetics that someone once found like attractive. So people who are like hating on themselves, your face only looks the way it does because ancestrally, like those have been the desired traits from someone. Someone has found it beautiful, and therefore that's why you are you look the way you do today. Yeah. So before you bag on yourself, it's like a disrespect to all the ancestors before that have chosen your traits as desirable. Yeah. Because if it wasn't desirable, then it wouldn't.
They wouldn't have chosen it. Yeah, exactly.
All right, and so like that's like it's a very extreme way of looking at it, I guess.
But like when you're so like deep down, like, oh my gosh, I hate everything about me. It's kind of nice to be like, oh, but someone loved these things that I hate about me. So like, why do I hate them? Right? Like,
the only reason you look the way you do is because someone has loved someone who looked like you. Right?
And that's huge. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess if you want to talk real history, it doesn't always have to come out of love, but regardless.
Yeah. But like, there was something about that attracted them to each other, right? So like
it's been desired in some form. So that's why you look the way you do. Yeah. And so saying that you're a reflection of the wonder of nature, I think is a really beautiful way to look at that.
Definitely.
And there's a few other things where it kind of like talks about how social media fuels your dopamine hits, fueling self-comparison. Physical beauty does nothing but only attract like physical needs. Yeah. Only those with real substance can satisfy their hearts, minds, and souls of others, which I think is, again, you're more than your looks. Physical appearance is going to change, right? If you fall for someone on that thing, then...
Yeah, he really stressed the importance of, like, you need to be able to love yourself, because your looks change, like everything about you changes like as you age. And so it's important that the love you have for yourself isn't contingent on how you look right now, because you will never look this way again.
I think that's another issue with a lot of, again, why divorce rates are so high. I think it's because people fall into these partnerships out of lust and superficial qualities rather than like thinking of it as like a business. Like, can I see myself building a business or family with this person?
And that's why it's so important for like, before you get married, as two unmarried individuals, we're going to give you marriage advice, but it's important to like, talk about your values and talk about what you want and what's important to you, so that, and make sure you like the person. Yeah,
you have to like who you're with. And when you compare healthy versus unhealthy relationships, that's where you're kind of coming from as an outsider. Like, I'm not in that heat of the moment and emotionally reactive.
Yeah.
But can you go through the hard stuff? Have you had those hard conversations?
Yeah.
Like, even us with the podcast, right? We're not married.
No.
But if we plan on making this a business or doing this,
we need to have hard conversations and we need to like each other enough to fight for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, even with Bryce and I, like, we carry similar values. We have very similar core beliefs. Like, we like each other. And so that I feel like that will create create a good foundation, right? Like, it's an important thing is to like actually like your partner, which sounds silly to say, but
well, and there's the looks come into play as well, right? You find each other attractive, but the basis of your relationship isn't built on those looks.
Exactly.
It's based off of like what you want to do, who you want to be.
Yeah.
So
Zachary.
And then there was this whole concept of just like accepting yourself and uniqueness and everything like that.
And I like the last one is like, be kind and forgive yourself. That's a very important thing, is to like you said in one of our episodes, where it's like, if you wouldn't say that to a friend, like, why would you say that about yourself?
Yeah exactly. There was a resident that at one of my jobs that one thing she would always say to all the staff members is, be kind to yourself, every single time. Like, that was her way of like saying goodbye or good night, right? She'd like grab your hand and be like, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And I loved it as a reminder when I was feeling good. When I was feeling bad, I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, move along.
Yeah.
Which made me think then, like, I wonder how much of her saying that to other people is actually an affirmation for herself that she wants to pass on to other people because it made her feel better.
Yeah.
But then if I don't want to hear it, I'm not going to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's interesting to look as like a third perspective on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, be able to recognize that I'm like, she's saying that because she has good intentions and she probably hated herself for so long and now wants everyone to love themselves.
Yeah, she wants everyone to learn from her mistakes, kind of thing. Yeah.
And then for me, it's like how I receive that is like mood dependent because I heard it so often. Did I start just getting like numb to it?
Yeah.
But then I don't know, I thought about it again when I was reading this book.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, this made me think of this resident who said this all the time. And
yeah,
I wonder how much of that was her, just like her version of accepting herself and how many years it took her to do that, because the people I was working for at that time were between 80 and 100.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you've spent 80 years of your life and only now just learned these lessons, of course you're going to try to save time for the younger generation. But
exactly. And it's so nice to like do that, but not everyone will receive that in the same way, which is tough. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really have any notes on this one.
Chapter 5, part 5? Or for this one?
For chapter 4.
Okay.
Chapter 5 is like manifesting goals, mind work, because then chapter 6 is manifesting goals, taking action. So it's like, what do you need to do kind of behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And I really liked that he said, only once you notice your thoughts can you make a choice as how you respond. And that's something I have been working so much on, and even talking about like how, just naming how I'm feeling is helping me like understand what I'm actually feeling. So I really liked that quote from it. Yeah.
For when it comes to manifesting your goals, you basically just have to ask yourself, like, do my beliefs allow me to live a life I really love? Or are you doing it for someone else? Is it ego, right?
Yeah.
The reason I chose the program I did versus a different type of program is because I realized that the other program was just an ego thing. I didn't actually want to do it.
Yes, exactly.
It didn't make me happy.
Yeah.
I did it because I thought I should do it. And that's ultimately why I didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to steer me in the right path.
and
sure should hope.
It's really cool that you have like the awareness to like recognize it's like, oh yeah, like I'd like to do that, but like it's not gonna spark joy in me if I go and do that. Because like, yeah, anyone can do anything that they set their mind to, but it's a matter of like quality of life doing said thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I very much lead with my heart in that scenario over my head.
Yeah.
Because mentally I know I could do anything I want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I won't do anything I don't want to do. Equally as stubborn and for optimistic ways and pessimistic ways.
Well, yeah, definitely. Because like, I could go back to school and become a doctor, like whatever, like, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I know I could do it. I know I could be just fine doing it, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if that makes me spoiled or like I'm screaming privilege or like what.
But either way, if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Versus if someone wants that, doesn't matter where you start.
Yeah.
If you want to get there, you'll get there.
Exactly. So
it might take you longer. It might be more difficult than others. Yeah. And that's on your story, right? I can't control that.
Exactly.
You can't even control where you've been placed in this world.
Yeah.
It's how you go about it that
it's like what you do with the cards you've been dealt kind of thing. And that's he has a really good perspective on that because his the early portion of his life was very, very difficult and he had to work very, very, very hard to get to where he is. And I feel like when you work hard for something, you appreciate more once you've achieved it.
Or you go the other way, or your ego takes over and you become a brat and you don't respect anyone.
That's true. But then I don't know that you worked that hard for it.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I also have, I think it's kind of towards the end of the chapter for this one, but it's your goal isn't to get rid of negative thoughts. It's to change your response to them. And that's very much what we talked about with toxic positivity. And I think that's how he kind of tried to make this book not feel like he was preaching toxic positivity, is being like, you're still human, you're still going to have negative thoughts, but like you can change how you respond to them as well. Yeah.
Another point that I liked is like, if you want to change your current belief, you have to disprove. If you want to change your current belief, you have to disprove your current belief and find evidence to support the belief you want.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically like, let me think of a good example. Like, I look like a whale, right? If I'm going to change that view of myself, I have to find evidence to support the belief that I don't look like a whale.
Yeah.
Right. And part of that's going to come from, I think, others, external validation. But a lot of it has to come internally and changing those belief systems.
Yeah.
Trying to think of another example for you.
My defense mechanism for that one was like, well, you don't have fins in a blowhole.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Comparing my size, that's one thing I always often say.
Yeah.
More often than I should.
Yeah.
But it's like, I need to disprove if I have evidence to support the belief that I want. I'm not a whale because whales, can't
survive on land.
I know, there's that. We want to get literal. They can't survive on land. I was like, like, whales aren't strong. I'm like, no, I guess they are pretty strong too, though.
You don't have a giant penis.
This is true. Don't have a penis at all.
Therefore, not a whale. Women cannot be whales.
Check. Only men can be whales.
Only men can be whales.
Whales and weasels.
Whales and weasels. The two genders. That's funny. Okay.
And so to wrap up this one, to manifest, what you have to do is you have to write down your goals, right? And so you have to be honest about what you want to do. Write them in present tense. Write them in your own voice. Be specific. Make them positive, and write with a time frame in mind.
Yeah.
Right. And that allows you to think of it as if it's already existing, and therefore you're more likely to follow through with said goal / manifestation.
There's a bunch of stuff where, like, if you talk about it as if it's already happened, it's more likely to actually happen.
Because the brain and the nervous system can't tell the difference between what is imagined and what is real. So if you have amputation, you're screwed.
If you get amputation, you're screwed.
If you have amputation, you're screwed. But amputation, talk about that. Ghost limbs.
Yeah.
Your body thinks that there's nerve pain
still there,
even though you have no leg. And so the only way to stop it is to actually lay a mirror on whatever is amputated. So your mind sees that there's a limb there. So it stops with the ghost pains.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't know there was a cure for ghost pains.
Well, it's just a way. It's just like a technique. It's not like it's going to happen.
Yeah, like a relief.
But for example, like with a leg, right? if you lay the mirror on the inside of your leg, so that mirrors your leg that you still have, then your brain is going to see that you have 2 full legs.
Wild.
And the nerves are going to stop.
Oh my gosh.
Shooting pains.
You just got bamboozle your brain.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, that's fun.
So if you ever have an amputation and you need to stop your ghost pains,
well, I'll come to you. Yeah.
So the taking action is just basically like reduce procrastination, make a solid plan, like swap your short-term pleasures for long-term goals.
Yeah.
It was very finance bro.
Extremely finance bro. I have actually blacked out chapter 6 and chapter 7.
Yeah. Well, chapter 7 is pain and purpose. So it's just like some of the best changes come from those painful experiences. I literally have that tattooed on me now. So courage grows strong in a wound.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was my health. Like I completely overhauled my life when my hair started falling out. And I'm never going to regret that because it's where I am now. So life is greater when you live with purpose and have a meaningful reason for doing what you're doing. Otherwise it gets redundant and you kind of feel just like a bot, and it's
exactly
where you have a lot of depression. That's why if you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life kind of thing. Similar, work with your ego or not against your ego and figure out what actually genuinely makes you happy. All the preachy feel good stuff from before.
All that fun stuff. The chapter that stood out the most to me in Pain and Purpose was lessons will repeat themselves. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like if you don't learn it, then like it's gonna like the universe or God or whoever is going to continually give you those things.
That's my my belief on like reincarnation. I think if you don't learn the lessons you're supposed to learn in your lifetime, you get reincarnated until you learn those lessons, and then you can finally move on.
I hate that. That sounds terrible.
I just think every soul is like set out with like a set list of things they need to like achieve in their life.
Yeah.
And once they have this checklist done, then that's when they can just like finally be at peace or whatever, or whatever you want to call that, heaven, hell, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn those lessons fully, then you're going to get reincarnated into a situation to try and learn those lessons again.
Learn that lesson.
Or you're going to meet different people. And I think that's why when you see someone who looks so familiar, but you can't pin why, I think it's someone from your past life.
Yeah. Do you think there's ever, like, do you think anyone has ever, like, fully, like encompassed their soul almost where they can, like, remember their past lives?
I saw an experience of it, or a story about that. A little girl recalls exactly how she died in her past life.
That'd be crazy, because I would love right now, like, if there's something I can do, if there's, like, a meditation or whatever that I can do.
I think there's a hypnosis technique.
Yeah, where you can just, like, you're like, this is who I was throughout my whole past lives.
Well, and if
they be crazy, because I would love to talk to past Journey and be like, hey.
But you might not be Journey.
I know, but
your past life could be Richard.
Yeah, like past whoever I was, like whoever shared this soul with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a new soul.
Yeah.
So, I think that'd be so cool. I'll be like, what was your life like?
And I think that's why some people come out swinging, because I don't know if they were a soldier and they died in war, for example, and then a newborn comes out feisty.
Do you think reincarnation happens at conception or birth?
Conception.
I agree with that.
Yeah. The origin.
Yeah.
But then there's also the theory of like how you died in your past life is shows up in your birthmarks.
Oh, okay.
If that's the case, then I got my neck slit.
I was stabbed on my chest with something that looked like a star.
Yeah, because I got my birthmark across my neck. But
yeah, that's fine.
We'll wrap this up because we're getting kind of long now. But so final thoughts, Jern, on the book.
I did not enjoy this book. It was, I feel like the only thing that really came to mind was like when Michaela read Badass Habits and was like, there was nothing in here that I didn't already know. So that was how I felt about this. I did have a panic attack while reading it, so that was fun. Still trying to figure out what triggered that.
Yeah, definitely like there's indicates that there's something
going on.
Something unhealed.
And like I don't know if it was just like I've been preached this my entire life and I'm so sick and tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
That I was kind of like, quit it, like stop. I know that I need to do these things. I know that I need to change this. I get it. Please stop harping on me to do this. I'm gonna do it in my own time. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair.
So, but I would recommend it to someone who wants to read How to Hug a Porcupine, but doesn't want to waste their own time. So I would, if you want to read How to Hug a Porcupine, read this one instead. Same kind of stuff, but better.
Yeah. Like, I liked it. I didn't think there was anything revolutionary. Part 6 and 7 just kind of become a little bit redundant and boring, so you can honestly skip those and not miss out on anything. Like other books, this one didn't give me something that I didn't already know. Yeah. But I liked the wording and formatting and perspectives kind of within it, because I didn't have as much of an emotional response as you did. Yeah. Circumstantially also, I guess, helped me with this book is because I was on a plane going to Los Angeles, and then doing podcast work on my flight gave me joy. Yeah. And so for me, it was hard not to feel grateful while reading this book. Because I'm like, wow, like I really am very appreciative of my life right now. Like I really like what I'm doing. I have purpose. I'm passionate. And so nothing about this book was like triggering for me. Yeah. So and like that was something that I thought like while I was reading this, when I was like actually like understanding like why I was feeling like so anxious and stuff. Was I was like, normally when I read like Badass Habits or like The Inflamed Mind or 5 Love Languages or like even Rich Bitch, like I become inspired. But this book didn't inspire me. Yeah. It sent me into a spiral. Yeah. So I'm like, what's the difference? Like, was I just closed off to hearing about all this stuff versus like other times I'm open? Like, I don't understand. Yeah. I think it's interesting. I mean, I didn't like it. He does give finance bro energy. It's so hard. I wish I hadn't looked at the cover. Maybe that's it. You should just start reading books blindly. Well, I only did it about halfway. Like, I was almost done. And I was like, what does he look like? Journey's judging a book by its cover. Well, because, like, even with, like, Edward Bowmore, I looked in the back to be like, what gives you the right to talk about this? Yeah. And he had so many letters. And I don't want to like pick apart this guy's character because I don't know him. And I know that he's been through a lot, but I was like, okay, whatever. I think this book is good for some. I think it's good if you need to hear it or want to hear it. I don't think it's a crucial part of your self-development journey to read this book. No. But yeah, if you're looking for an easy self-help book to read and you're open to hearing what he has to say, then yeah, go for it. I would say. But if something along the lines of like, be happy, change your mindset, things like that, if that's going to send you into a spiral. Even just hearing that was like, whew. Yeah. It's not going to. Then it's not going to be good for you. Yeah. But I don't know. I found it hard to not feel grateful while reading the book just because I have a lot of things that are going well in my life right now. Yeah. But teenage Michaela would probably hate that. Yeah, exactly. Teenage angsty Michaela would be like, me. Yeah. That's Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Yeah. By Journey Michaela. Yeah. Mac thinks it's okay. Jubes didn't like it. Perfect. I'll probably be about 2 stars then. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you for listening. Yeah, thank you. If you like us or like what we're doing, give us a like, a rate and review. It all helps us out. Yep. For social medias, I'm Mak Joy. I'm It's Jubes. We are sometimes Ciabatta Slaps on all social media platforms. You can, as I said in the beginning, you can find our website for all book reviews, links to books, figure out what we're reading each month. Next month's book club is going to be The Courage to be Disliked. Yep. I can't remember the author at the moment. It's like Japanese. Akira Hishima. And I don't remember the second author's name, but it's on our website, so you guys can check that out. It was recommended by a friend, and it was already on our list. I did see. Yeah. So we're pretty excited to read that one. Because of the recommendations, we booted it up for June. Yeah, heard lots of positive reviews, so we'll be the judge of that, obviously. We'll give the final review. Yeah, expert book review here. Reviewers here. But yeah, on that note, have a great day. Yeah, we hope you guys had a great mental health month and a safe long weekend. Yeah. And we'll talk to you next week. We'll see you in June. See you in June. Bye.